Hello, dear students. Welcome to I-Fal. My name is Teacher Nikki, and I am here to have another video lesson with you. So I am so excited to talk about a new topic for you today that will help you understand and construct better sentences using the English language. I know that these lessons will be very helpful for you to communicate using the English language that are grammatically correct and properly constructed, considering that we will be talking about some grammar topics. So I want you to concentrate on our lesson today, pay attention to our sample sentences, and please practice them very well even after the class. So let's go ahead and start our lesson. Let's go.
So, for today's lesson, let's go ahead and talk about more of our sentence patterns. But before that, let's try to understand what sentence pattern is. So, when we say sentence pattern, it is a grammatical component that tells you exactly where and how each component of a sentence should be placed in order to blend and make sense. Okay? So, in short, if we try to understand sentence pattern, this is when we have to know how to put the words in our sentences so they would make complete or make sense with the meaning of the sentence that we are trying to say. Now, in other words, the sentence structure is what defines the way a sentence will look and sound. Okay, so this is also a consideration that we have to make for us to have a sentence with good meaning and thought. All right, now there are some basic parts of the sentence. So before we look into how sentence structure works, we will have to first learn about the basic structure of a sentence and the components that make up a sentence. Of course, we have to understand each part and each component of the sentence for us to better construct them or for us to better make these sentences. Now, a sentence consists of at least a subject and a predicate. Okay, in other words, a sentence should have a subject and a verb. Okay? Now, the first component or first part of a sentence is your subject. Now, the subject can be a noun or a pronoun that does the action. Okay, but it's not all the time that it is the doer of the action. Now, the subject in a sentence actually is the one that being talked about or the focus of your sentence. Like, for example, the sun is shining, the sky is clear, today is Wednesday. So as you can see, the sun, the sky, and today are actually your subjects, okay? Or in the last sentence, Wednesday is also the subject, all right? So that is the first part or first component of your sentence. Now, the second part of your sentence is actually what we call your predicate. So the predicate is actually the verb, is the action performed by the particular subject in the sentence. So, like for example here, I love macaroni and cheese. Love macaroni and cheese is actually your predicate. Marin has a pet. Has a pet is your predicate. Anusha can draw. Can draw is also your predicate. So your predicate contains the verb and also other components of the rest of the sentence. So these are just the two main parts of your sentences, your subject and also your predicate. So let's move on now to the components. Okay? So the components of your sentence. So like a sentence has two parts. So we have the subject and predicate. Now it has five main components that make up the structure of the sentence. And they are, remember, we have the subject, we have the verb, we have the objects, your complement, and your adjunct. Okay? Now let's take a look at these different components. Now, as we know, the subject is usually a noun that performs the action in the sentence, and that is considered as your subject. It answers the question who or what, depending if it's a person or not. In other words, a subject can be identified by asking the question who. Okay, a subject takes the first place in most cases, especially in declarative or assertive sentences. So, like for example, the child kept crying. Our school team won the match. My son is in eighth grade. Hard work pays. Okay. No one came to the wedding. Okay? So, usually they take the first place in your sentences, then they are considered as your subject. So, remember, they can be a noun or they can be a pronoun. Okay? Next one here, we have the verb. Of course, in every sentence, the most important word can be said to be the verb, okay? A verb shows action or activity or work done by the subject. So remember that all verbs, including your main verbs, your helping verbs, dative verbs, action verbs, come under this category. Okay? Most often, verbs appear immediately after your subject. So most of the time, you see your verb after your subject. Example, Nina is writing a letter. It was too dark. I feel tired. My phone is not working. Tarun's dog ran away. Okay, so I think you know what verbs are. Next one, we have the object. An object is a noun or a pronoun that receives the action done by the subject. And objects are of two types, and we have the direct object and indirect object. So we have to consider the verb as well. Now, direct object, a noun or a pronoun that receive the action directly, is the direct object in the sentence. Okay, it answers the question what. Direct objects mostly appear immediately after the verb and the primary objects in the sentence. So that's why they are direct object. They directly receive the action. Okay, like for example, Harry bought what? A new car. So a new car is your direct object. My mom made what? A cake. I met who? My friend. She knows what? All the song. And we watched what? A movie. Okay? Now, we also have the indirect object. So, an indirect object is a noun or pronoun that is secondary object. It can be identified by asking the question whom. Okay, when there is an indirect object in a sentence, it is mostly placed after the verb before the direct object. Okay, like for example, so Vandana gave whom? Kirtana. Okay, a cake. So whom Kirtana is your indirect object, okay? And a cake is your direct object. Vandana gave a cake. To whom? Okay, Kirtana. My mom bought me, indirect object, me, a new dress. Okay, I gave him a chocolate. They gave us coffee with breakfast, and he lent his friend a pen. So, friend, us, him, me, Kirtana are your indirect object. They do not directly receive the action or the verb. Okay? Now, we also have what we call your complements. So the words required to complete the meaning of a sentence can be referred to as a complement of the sentence. A complement, remember, can be an adjective, can be a name. In short, it's a noun, a position, or a profession. Example, it grew dark. Okay, dark is your complement. He is a dentist. Dentist is your complement. That's her dog, Bruno. Dog, okay, is your subject. Bruno is your complement. Okay, in this case, that is her dog, Bruno. Okay, So complements can be two. We have the subject complement or the object complement. So from the word itself, subject complement, okay, the complement which expresses the quality or identity or condition of the subject is called your subject complement. So if it's referring to your subject, then this is your subject complement. Like for example, she is a doctor. A doctor here is a subject complement because it talks about or identifies your subject, she. I am Shindu. Okay, I and Shindu are the same person, so Shindu is your subject complement. Nandu is clever. So clever who? It's Nandu. The students are very excited. Very excited who? The students. So they are subject complement. Okay, my brother is a teacher. So it's also a subject complement. All right. Now, object complement on the other hand here. Okay. So the component which expresses the quality or quantity of a condition of an object is called object complement. They made her angry. So who's angry? Is it they or her? It's her. Okay. So angry here refers to her. Then this is an object complement. Complement. Okay. Now the students elected Shreya, the class leader. Okay. Who's the class leader? It's Shreya. Okay, so it's an object complement. They named their daughter Tara. Marley met her friend Ryan. Nobody found the movie interesting. What is interesting? It's the movie, right? So in this case, interesting is an object complement. So lastly, we have the adjunct. So an adjunct is a word or phrase that gives more information about an action, an event, a quality, and so on. It's short. It can be said that these words can include adverbs and adverb clause. Okay? Adjuncts can be identified by asking when, where, why, how often, to what extent. So when using adjuncts, keep in mind that adjuncts can be used in the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the sentence, and that there can be more than one adjunct in a sentence. Okay, these are just like adverbs or adverbial clause. Okay, example, yesterday we met at the park. Okay, yesterday is an adjunct. At the park is also an adjunct. He is very tired. So adjunct, very is an adjunct here. Due to his illness, okay, or ill health is an adjunct. He could not come home, adjunct, for Christmas, adjunct. My father reads the newspaper every day. Every day is your adjunct. This workout routine is extremely, okay, adjunct, exhausting. Okay, so those are just the parts and components of our sentences that we have to understand very well. All right?
So I hope you find our lesson today very helpful. So as I always say, the secret in making your communication skills in English better is constant practice. So I want you to please keep on practicing all the lessons that we've had in the past and even this present lesson. So I know that you can do it really well and you'll improve yourself eventually. So just keep believing in yourself and practice more, okay? Now, please stay tuned to our more lessons here in I-Fal, and please visit our website that I will flash on the next screen. I also encourage you to please subscribe to our classes because we have a lot of amazing teachers that will help you and guide you in improving your English skills. So once again, this is Teacher Nikki. So I'll just see you again on the next classes and video lessons that we're going to have. I know that we will have more amazing lessons in the future. So stay tuned and good luck. Study harder and I'll see you next time. Bye.